There are a ton of amazing secret weapons and items that you can miss at the beginning of your playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077. So in today's video, we're going to go over some of these early things that you can get to make your character a lot more powerful at the beginning of the game that you definitely don't want to miss. You can even get yourself this little iguana egg that I didn't even know existed, which will actually hatch into a full-blown iguana during your playthrough. Now, the first few things that we're going to go over are actually gotten in the prologue of the game, when you climb the Nakamura Tower to commit your initial heist. Once you get inside and Grandpappy Bad Boy gets murdered, you can exit your little hidey hole and loot the body to be able to get the new Nihon knife. This knife is actually incredibly good and pairs extremely well with the other iconic weapon in this area called Satori. Now, to be able to get the Satori samurai sword, you're going to want to start the process of leaving this area. Once you open up that door, you're going to want to turn around, head up the stairs, and get to the upper level. You're going to see the vehicle that Grandpappy Bad Boy came down on. You can murder the one guy in the area, open up this vehicle, and you can get the Satori samurai sword right here. Now, what's interesting about the Satori and Nihon is they both cause bleeding, but if one causes bleeding and you switch to the other weapon, you can actually cause hemorrhage with this weapon. And what hemorrhage does is it drains health from your enemies and gives that health to you. So you can use it as kind of like a healing combo, and if you're going to be doing a blade build, this is a really nice combination. Now, after getting the Satori, head back downstairs, and you're going to see this log, and there's going to be an iguana on the log. If you head behind this, you can actually pick up an iguana egg that we can place inside of V's apartment. We're going to go over a little bit more of the Nihon and Satori combo here in just a moment. You're probably wondering, what do you do with this iguana egg? Once you talk to Nakamura at the diner, you can head back to V's apartment, and for some reason, there's going to be a new bowl here on this little bench, and you can place the iguana egg inside of this bowl. After you place the egg in the bowl and 30 in-game days have passed, it's going to hatch into a full-blown iguana. You can pet it, and if you do acquire the cat, it'll hang out with the cat as well, and Johnny likes it pretty well too. Now, back to the Satori and Nihon. These both can be upgraded using crafting components, and you'll notice that the Satori and the Nihon both have a guaranteed way to apply bleeding. With the Satori, you can sheath it and then hold the attack button to perform a quick draw attack that's guaranteed to inflict bleeding, and with the Nihon, if you throw it instead of stabbing with it, that's guaranteed to inflict bleeding as well. Now, with either of these weapons, if you have applied bleeding from the opposite one, so if you've applied bleeding from Satori, then you would switch the Nihon, and the Nihon will cause hemorrhage instead of bleeding. So essentially what you would do is cause bleeding with Satori, switch to Nihon, and you could throw it and it'll apply that hemorrhage and you'll heal yourself. Or you can use the Nihon to apply bleeding by throwing it, and then you can switch to the Satori, and instead of causing bleeding with the Satori, you can cause hemorrhage with it. So you can switch in between these two knives, and it's a fun little combo to be able to apply bleeding and hemorrhage to be able to heal yourself and kill your enemies. There is one more iconic weapon that you can get in Nakamura Tower, which is the Kangu Iconic Pistol. This has a great headshot damage multiplier and crit chance, and you can acquire this by looting it off the bed during the heist. All of these iconic weapons can be upgraded, and to be able to do that, you need to go into crafting and then upgrades. Now, the upgrade process is a little bit more of a pain than it used to be, but if you have some favorites, you can definitely spend all of your crafting components to be able to upgrade your weapons to your heart's content. Next, we want to get Lizzys Pistol. This is actually in a different location than where it was originally, but you can still get it really early on in the game, even before going to Nakamura Tower. Coming back here the second time to Lizzys Bar, we should be able to pick up Lizzys Pistol. So Lizzys Pistol has moved. Back in the olden times, it was right here, but I think if we go back here, this is where it is now, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, there is Lizzys Pistol. This thing is freaking amazing. You can only get it after talking to her the first time, so you can get it when coming back here the second time, or any other time really. Now, Lizzys Pistol is pretty great. It's got 150% headshot damage multiplier, 50% armor penetration, and a charge time to be able to fire a burst shot that is pretty powerful as well. It also fires an extra round per shot, increasing the number of rounds fired per shot when fully charged. Now, if you're into tech and pistols, this thing can become incredibly powerful. You can pair this pistol with the tech tree, and you can get bolts and then go into chain lightning, which your bolts and now will chain to up to 3 other enemies around them, increasing your damage across the board. Next is probably one of my favorite weapons. This is a katana that can light people on fire. This was originally in the first release of Cyberpunk, but you couldn't actually get it, and modders added it to the game, and CDPR finally added it officially to the game in the 2.0 update, and it's really easy to get. Now, not only does this weapon look amazing, it's got good armor penetration and a 17% chance to light your enemies on fire. It also allows you to leap toward enemies, attacking burning enemies guarantees crit damage. So if you have like a burning build, you can switch to the errata to be able to deal high critical strike damage with this katana. And obviously, the more you upgrade this, the better it's going to get. Now, during the quest at Disaster Piece, where you have to save Evelyn, you're going to be running through this building. As you progress through the building, you're going to be looking for a room that has a giant furnace in it with a bunch of enemies around. Once you take out all the enemies, head up to this big furnace, and you're going to find the errata sitting basically right inside of it. Pick this bad boy up, and just fall in love. Now, if you're going to get into using blades, you're definitely going to want to focus on reflexes. There's quite a few skills in here that you can use, like Slippery to be able to dash faster, because you're going to be using a lot of dashes when you're using your blades. And essentially, you want to go up to dash, get mad dash. You're going to pick up Flash and Thunderclap, which when performing strong attacks, you now automatically leap towards enemies within range, which comes in really handy for dealing with large groups of enemies. You're going to pick up Seeing Double, as well as Lead and Steel, and you're going to get as high into this as you want. You can pick up Slaughterhouse all the way at the end, but you will need 20 points invested into reflexes to be able to do this. But investing at least 15 will unlock the Blade Runner skill tree for you, but just investing 15 points into here will give you the Blade Runner finishers, which will reduce your stamina costs while using blades, increase your attack speed, and unlocks a blade finisher, which you can use when enemies' health is low. You can tie this in with Flash of Steel, which gives you an increased movement speed and attack speed for 6 seconds after finishing an enemy. There's also a bunch of other good things in here like Bullet Time to be able to deflect bullets and automatically hit enemies for critical strike damage. Using blades in Cyberpunk 2077 is actually a lot of fun. Now, if you do miss the errata, you can actually head back to that location and pick it up for free if you want. But there is one more way for us to be able to get all of these iconic weapons if we miss them with the Phantom Liberty DLC. There's a pretty amazing new vendor that you can access right when you enter the Phantom Liberty DLC, and it's this vendor right here with all of the machinery around them and all of these amazing looking weapons. If you miss any iconic weapon during your playthrough, you can actually head back to this location and be able to buy it. Like we could pick up the Order here for 69,000 eddies. I do have to mention, these are very expensive, so you want to make sure to try and pick them up during your playthrough if you can, or you're going to have to pay an arm, a leg, and your firstborn child to be able to buy them from this vendor. But at least we no longer have to glitch our way through the game to be able to pick up things that we missed in the past. Now, there is one more bonus to actually buying them from this vendor rather than picking them up in the wild, is you can actually buy them at a higher tier than they were available before. Upgrading weapons takes a lot of components and you can't buy them like you used to be able to. So in some instances, if you want to be able to save yourself a little bit of time and you have a bunch of extra money, you could forego picking up this weapon and then buy it from the vendor and get it at a higher tier than you otherwise would have. In some instances, you might actually just want to buy them from the vendor. I don't know, I think it's pretty interesting, and I really like that we don't have to miss out on any iconics ever again. Navigating through Dogtown can be a little confusing, but this vendor is actually located right here next to the Ripper Dock, and you can use the EBM Stadium fast travel point, which is in this big circle here down in Dogtown. And then you're just going to kind of walk down your path right here to this vendor right here called the Black Market Vendor. Now, I will have plenty of other videos on Cyberpunk 2077 to include all new build videos to really make yourself incredibly powerful in the game. I really do hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.